And there's the Ricky. He got changed slightly, but okay, that is a really different approach. And he's going to be landing with an Enchantress, so he's got a little bit of healing there. But okay, we'll have to see what happens because you are playing naturally versus a Root. He plays well versus the Abaddon and the Kunkka, but again, Ricky, I don't know if he got changed enough. Diffusal got way cheaper. It's a way less stat efficient item now. It got cheaper by about 500 gold, but lost about 10 agi in tow. So we'll see if he goes for that, or maybe there's some new funky build. If he buys an Orchid, I'm done.
Everybody's buying an Orchid, man. It's just, you might as well spawn with one at this rate.
It's just
But
what you do now, yeah.
the only problem with the, not the only problem, the biggest problem I see with this Ricky is it does nothing in terms of alleviating my concerns with DogChamp with the lack of durability here. Whatever this offlane pick is going to be, it's got to be beefy. It has to be a strong frontline hero, because your Ricky and your Quap are not going to lead into that fight the majority of the time. You're going to want them coming in from behind, from the flanks. So who stands there and sort of acts as that first initiator into your fight? You don't have anyone right now. Good news, though, going back to what we were talking about before, with so few off-lane bans, is that the pool is still relatively open. You won't have Luki's Pango. We do see the Timbersaw now being banned away, but there's still options in the pool as the Night Stalker gets banned out here. So Thunder, Awaken, they kind of know what's up here as well. That offlaner needs to be tanky, durable, and honestly still dish out a little bit of damage as well. So they're just banning away some of those prime suspects.
Yeah, and I'm really sore. I really think if they picked up Timbersaw in that same position as the Ricky, they would have been in a slightly better position, especially after seeing the snap. But you know, what can you do? We'll have to see. And Ricky, you know, he got 0.2 strength per level. Maybe he's the tank now. Maybe he's the one who's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
be the one
maybe.
in front. But the other option is they just say, okay, we're not gonna have a frontliner. We're going to get another hero that might be building a blink dagger to jump in with the Queen of Pain, because that's always the problem with Queen of Pain, right? Is as soon as you jump in, you become the target, you become the immediate target. So having another initiator could definitely alleviate that pressure and also give Thunder Awaken someone else to kill, which is sometimes all you need, especially with the Ricky. I think they could go for that kind of strat. But this is the exact opposite thing that I kind of wanted out of DogChamp, is seeing them fight into Thunder Awaken, because that's what they do. They just get all of these super tanky items. They itemize very early on for that 10 to 15 minute mark.
Well, hold on a
That's a
second.
funny pick. Wait a second.
Who's going where now? That's okay. We've got a mystery on our hands, folks, as the Slaughter will get picked up. So
Because Ember? Is that on the table?
it could be. I mean, what else? They could shift the Kunkka to the 1, play the Slaughter at the 3, and then send Ember mid, but Ember mid against Queen of Pain, who knows if they want to run that. So, well, I guess we'll wait and see. They'll pick their heroes once DogChamp go, but now DogChamp are maybe scratching their heads a little bit, because this is a weird one. The Slaughter, though, I mean, it's going to work relatively well against the Ricky. You add more lockdown. It's a hero that can't be easily killed off in most circumstances, and gets you a little bit of maybe vision and armor reduction against heroes that, as we mentioned before, are not particularly tanky right now.
Yeah. Classic counter pick. Plays really well with the Ember Spirit if he goes for the physical build that we saw some Ember Spirits already go for in this tournament. And really, honestly, if it is going to be a Picaz Ember Spirit, everything feels pretty okay. The Snapfire just slots in as the 4, the Slaughter goes 3, and then they're kind of just business as usual. I think that's where DogChamp are kind of left scratching their head here. Not to mention, it's also a deny pick. Thunder Awaken really did their homework, because you talk about Luki, I feel like everything that he plays is either banned or either sniped out from underneath him. I think Thunder Awaken have really done a good job of zeroing in on him. And Axe,
Well,
there's a reason we don't see Axe a lot, but I have hope, because, you know, Axe is one of those really inconsistent offlaners where sometimes you have a really good game, sometimes you play your waves just right, and then you snowball, and then you feel great. But the problem I have right now is just there is that kind of inkling in me that says, if it's not going to be a great Axe game, if you don't play your cards right, then you just end up feeling useless. And it's a really sad fact, because once you start falling off on this hero, it's one of those heroes where you get your blink dagger at 11 minutes into the game, and then you don't get another item for another 10 minutes, or you just continue to get him down the pipeline. It just so quickly can turn into a horrible game. And it's actually because Slardar. Okay.
Yeah, so
That's
because
gonna
we'll
be
play the
interesting.
Slardar, they'll send the Kunkka mid, and it will be the Sacred Snapfire. So, I mean, we talked about it. That lane was so brutal before the Snap and the Ember, so they didn't want to give it up, and I guess we'll see how Position 1 Slardar works in this new patch, because we did not really see that all too much in, what, the past couple of months, but, well, Thunder Awaken are going to give it a go, and even with this maybe funky switch up there, it still feels like they have a pretty sizable advantage going into this.
Yeah. And of course, I honestly think they picked the starter just because he plays two styles, right? He either is the Medusa PL that you don't see for 15 minutes and then he's too big and it's too late, or if he plays the Wraith King, the Starter, the CK, the strength carry who shows up at every single fight. And once he gets Blinger, we'll have to see what he goes build-up wise, if it's just Armlet Blink or if he tries to squeeze a Midas in there. But I can definitely see him kind of, again, try to snowball. And like you said, they win the armor battle now, and that's something that DogChamp need to be very careful of, because if suddenly they just don't itemize correctly, they don't make the little stops along the way, they will just get shredded apart.
Yeah, and you mentioned it in the draft as well. Thunder Awaken, a squad that really tries to effectively bait you into playing their game, into fighting up against their lineup, which is built to fight. So we'll see if DogChamp can either A, avoid that scenario entirely, or B, maybe beat Thunder Awaken at their own game. It's a possibility, but, well, two teams have tried it so far against Thunder Awaken. They both went down 0-2, so maybe third time's the charm here. We'll see what DogChamp can do as we do get into this first game of the day. Thunder Awaken already grouped up pretty significantly here, just dropping down the ward, but if someone like Yaren perhaps gets a little too close... Well, actually not that close. Just a quick drive-by drops the ward. They spotted that out the whole way, though, so they should have a D-ward on it, but... yeah, there it is. So Yaren, unfortunately, gets his ward taken out right away, but at least he was able to get in and out without being caught by a quartet of heroes who are trying to set up for First Blood.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how Yaren actually lanes now. Of course, in 731, the big change to Shaman was that Jackos actually heals him now, so how that is going to affect Yaren in terms of his item build and his skill build, it's going to be funny seeing a Shaco go down and then seeing the red numbers and the green numbers, but we'll have to see, because he is laning with an axe, so Yaren is going to, I think, need to carry this lane a little bit. Not to mention he's playing versus the Abaddon, so he can just shield, do whatever he wants.
Cass is going to cop a little bit of damage there anyway, as they did get the rune, so they snagged 3 of the 4. Most of that damage was just sort of absorbed by the Aphotic Shield anyway, so it's going to be a nice start. And now, I don't want to see how this bottom lane in particular plays out in terms of how aggressive this duo wants to be. You were talking about earlier, with the shield, you can kind of just do whatever you want, but they're also going to have the shield, the bash, and the crush to work with, so maybe not Luki Luki, considering that's an axe. He's pretty tanky, but someone like Yaren could get bullied pretty easily if Pakaz actually does want to get involved and, you know, is willing to take time away from last hitting.
Yeah, and really, I want to say fingers crossed we shouldn't see a kill down here until Pakaz gets boots, but at the same time, it could just be very simply Yarn gets a little bit too close. He didn't start boots on his hero, so he definitely could get clipped very simply by a crush, and then you're just very, very dead very quickly. But at the same time, Slaughter safe lane, while it's not the best, I want to say, carry in the entire game, it's very good at trading. It's just free damage, especially if Pakaz is spacing it out. It's up to Luki Luki to make it so that Pakaz is forced into a last hit, but Pakaz is also just going to try and get that bash every single time.
And here's where things can get maybe a little bit annoying. Yarn does a decent amount of damage, and the axe can throw out the Battle Hunger, and if Panda doesn't have the mana or doesn't have the cooldown for the shield, you can get a little bit of damage in, but I don't think that's going to be really enough to ever bully this Slardar out of the lane. He would have to make a pretty sizable mistake, or Luki Luki would have to get some honestly pretty incredible RNG on the counter helixes to really dish out significant amounts of damage. But for now, your Axe is just trying to find some last hits. That's not going fantastically. He's sitting at 4-1, and as we've sort of discussed multiple times since the new patch dropped, it's going to be interesting to see how early the Shadow Shaman looks to sort of push out of this lane and start doing his own thing. As speaking of doing their own thing up in the top lane, Matthew goes in. Going to be able to take down Bloody Nine just before his own death, so the first blood does go Thunder Awaken's way, but we saw this yesterday. This off-lane duo, Snapfire and Ember Spirit, they go hard and they go early, just not backing down from fights.
Again, honestly, I think that's exactly what Matthew wanted, just because now you get to, you know, walk over, get your refill. He gets to have his mana completely reset. I think Sacred has a Soul Ring coming out on the Courier. It's really kind of funny seeing 6 skeletons spawned. Why it's 3 now instead of 2, I have no idea. No, more last hits. It's same amount of gold, though. Just literally one more last hit. At the same time, B9's got to be really careful. They've been doing a really obnoxious job of playing in his camps. Of course, the small camp is still blocked up, so he does only have kind of the 2 meh creeps. And at the same time, if he's not killing these creep camps, I'm very surprised B9 didn't just farm out this last hill troll, because now this camp is just flat out not going to spawn. But oh no!
There's that combo.
Well,
and if you're Stonebank, I mean, what do you do? Once you get hit by the root, you're kind of done. He's got to wait to make the jump, and actually I don't think Bloody Nine was in range to be jumped to anyway, but that just sets Sacred up, and they get a second kill in this top lane. Now they're looking for a third. Bloody Nine in trouble underneath the tower. With Stonebank coming back in, yeah, they're going to back this one off, but while they're backing off, their teammates actually got a kill down bot. Luki gets taken down. Matthew maybe traded in exchange. They need a little bit more damage. They don't quite have it yet. Matthew's just dancing around the trees here, keeping himself alive. And I don't think they're going to be able to get him. Meanwhile, down bot, Pekaz was able to take down Yaren, so
no.
Thunder Predator's getting all these kills. They're looking for Stonebank again. Sacred dropping low. Stonebank's going to take him out, but Matthew gets the revenge. I don't know if he gets away from Bloody Nine now. He is so low on HP. Can he somehow play Ring Around the Rosie here? Yes, he can. That's not okay. Bloody Nine's so close to getting that kill. He needed, I mean, one last hit from him would have been enough, so he's going to kick himself for that a little bit, especially considering, again, that Stonebank goes down. That's 2 deaths now in this lane. The Ricky is kind of on the bottom of the totem pole here in terms of that last hit count with all these disruptions.
Yeah, he's doing the walk of shame right now. Don't even think there's a smoke for him. But yeah.
Mashed up, bottom lane. He's getting slowed as well. There's going to be the crush. Yaren's coming over to try and help, but it's too late. And now, yeah, Yaren got to get the hell out of there. Tries to go in for the
bottom lane's rough. It's just, now we're getting to the point as well, once Pekaz hits level 6, then there's really nothing you can do. It's really going to be very unfortunate. Yaren, he's trying to do whatever he can, and with the, again, we talk about the Dire offlane being a little bit better than Radiant offlane. The tower's just there, but he gets caught, I think, just trying to mess with the pull, just trying to do, I think, his support's job a little bit too much instead of his own, and then he kind of gets picked off. And now, what do you do? This is one of the problems in a very similar instance to Batrider, where as soon as you start to fall behind in levels, you need to cut. You need to find your last hit somewhere else. Well, top.
Picked off again. I mean, at this point, we talked about it at the end of the day yesterday. You know, maybe you start banning Ember Spirit against Thunder Awaken. Matthew 3-1-1. I mean, we have yet to see him miss across multiple series here, so he is having his impact. Speaking of impacts, because goes in for the stun, gets the kill onto Yaren. Luki not in the picture as he was trying to chase Panda underneath the tower. Not only does he not get that kill, he loses his teammate, and this is starting to look a little similar to those games yesterday where Thunder Awaken just really took off quickly. And you were talking about, what do you do if you're someone like the Axe? What do you do if you're DogChamp in general? Your only playmaker at this stage is probably going to be Raylalisa, and he does have his ult, so he's ready to go, but this is sort of that Quap effect. If you make that TP up to a lane or down to the lane and you don't get the kill, you've sort of shot yourself in the foot.
Yeah, and this is also what I was worried about. Lukey,
Oh
after so
boy.
long, he finally got a creep wave. He finally started cutting, and then as soon as he does, a haste rune Dark Mago comes in.
And
While
here's
Bloody
another
Nine
kill
gets
top.
bolted. Yep.
They are just...
And
Okay, hold
maybe
on. Here's Yaren.
trades?
Yaren's gonna
Nope.
die for this, though. Yeah, he's not getting out of that one. That's, unfortunately, always the downside of Shackles. You're gonna stun an opponent, but you're basically kind of stunning yourself. And now, they're gonna go for the combo in onto Stonebank. Sacred doesn't have mana or cooldowns for this, though, but... Oh. Now he needs to get away. TP in from Ray Lisa. That's going to get them the kill. That rotation finally gets made, and... In that instance, I think you're a little bit more okay with that. You did have to lose both of your supports, but you get a kill on to that Snapfire. It's the first kill of the game for the Queen of Pain, so I said if you make the rotation and you miss, you sort of shoot yourself in the foot. But if you can build momentum by connecting on those kills, your Queen of Pain may be the one to sort of carry you through these early stages.
Yeah, it's just going. I'm looking at Lukey
Man.
bottom.
He's just getting
Is this hit?
smashed.
Well,
With that armor reduction, I mean, he's not a hero. Lukey has nothing to work with. That's a nice shackle for Yarn. We'll give him points for the effort, but wasn't really a whole lot he could do to follow that one up. 12 kills in 8 minutes, ET. This is getting into some pretty dangerous territory if you're DogChamp. Gotta stop the bleeding somehow.
no, they're definitely keeping pace, and they need to avoid Dark Mago. Ray is the one that needs to make these rotations still. He's falling behind a little bit behind, I think, everyone on Thunder Awaken, but oh, B9. B9 is gone, but as long as it's just B9, that's whatever. That's fine. They need to get Ray kind of back into his own game now. He still has his ultimate. He has his maxed out spells. Don't. Oh, this is rough.
Sonic Wave's gonna come through, though, and that actually
nice.
allows him to dodge the impact from the boat, so now maybe they can turn. Panda's the one dropping low, not level 6 yet, so they do take him down. Don't think they can afford to chase Dark Mago here, although with Lukey coming in, maybe they can get it. Does he have the taunt? Can he get into range? Well, I think if he went for it now, he'd get it, but he is trying to sort of wait this one out until Stonebank is in position, but with Matthew rotating over, now they need to be concerned. There's going to be the route into the Mortimer Kisses. Nice jump up onto the high ground, but it won't be enough. He still goes down, but they're looking to turn the fight. Dark Mago dropped low, finished off. Bloody Nine gets the kill, but Sacred, he's in there, looking for the stun into the Scatter Blast. It's not enough to take Ray Lisa down, though, so now he has to turn his attention back to defending his teammate. Matthew is holding it down in a 1v2. Gonna be able to hold out long enough for the reinforcements to arrive as B9 gets taken out, and now Lukey is sort of left holding the bag. And while all of that went down, ET, noticing in the kill feed, Pakaz actually sort of rotated in, caught the Queen of Pain by surprise, and was able to get the last hit in for the kill.
I don't even know where Pakaz came from. If he came all the way from the bottom lane, where after he killed Yaren, or what happened with that, but that's how they play. Pakaz just shows up at the last second, the cleanup crew arrives, and even though you lose Dark Mago, in very, very similar fashion to yesterday, you lose Dark Mago and then you kill 4 heroes, so he knows how to value his life. Okay, this is a little bit annoying.
Do they have the damage for this?
Nah,
There's no ult.
he just gets to walk away. Uh-oh.
X, boat, Torrent, connecting on all fronts, and that is just a dead Queen of Pain. That's... See, those are the plays. Oh man, speaking of plays, Stonebank taking down bot. Those are the plays you cannot afford. The other ones, getting caught out in the top lane, losing B9 multiple times.
Okay,
Oh,
they called
Jesus.
Are you Thunder Awaken? They're doing the world tour. We're everywhere in 10 minutes or less. That's. I mean, yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good.
Okay, well, I guess we're done talking. That is a 10.5-minute GG. That is something else. Thunder Awaken.
Well, they kept on pace. 2 kills per minute.
They're playing like somebody pissed them off. I don't know who did it, but they're just coming out here and stomping all over everyone.
I mean, that's their rate. They're just 2 kills per minute, in, out, you know. They've spent so little time in the server. They have, I think, cumulatively played like less than 2 hours out of their 5 games or something like that. It's actually crazy. I don't know. What does DogChamp do now?
I mean, listen,
they got their comfort, right? But
we're always trying to, you know, we don't want to call a game too early, right? As casters, you gotta try and stay impartial. Try and keep it, you know, how can DogChamp do this, etc., etc. But yeah, it was pretty apparent when Thunder Predator have 10 kills in like 6 minutes that there's really nothing that the DogChamp draft was going to be able to do there. They just get beat down straight up. That is one of the single fastest and most dominant wins I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think really the tipping point is just losing Yara in the bottom lane because walks to the top lane, kills Ray, and then TP's bottom, then solo kills Stonebank, and then B9 is just like there's nothing. There's no hope. I think they had an out, a few outs in this game. I think if they just took the Timber stuff, they would have looked so much better. They wouldn't have picked Slaughter then. They would have looked for a different carry. I think they would have thrown a wrench at the works maybe, but I think they just, again, they all end on the lanes, and then they lost the lanes, and then you're not good at out of the lanes. You have to play versus the team fight guys, so that's why he calls it, because there's just no hope going forward.
Yeah, the amount of effort they would have had to put in to even come close to sniffing a comeback was more than they were willing to put up with. Understandable based on how that game. So, game 1 is a blink and you'll miss it affair. Thunder Awaken get their 5th straight victory, and now they're looking to keep the ball rolling, hoping for 6 in a row as we're going to be moving into game 2. Will DogChamp make adjustments? God, I hope so, because if they get taken out like that one again, it's going to be rough. So we shall see what game 2 has in store. So we're going to be stepping away for a couple of minutes, and we'll be back for game 2 of Thunder Awaken versus Team DogChamp.